And Walt, as the result of the rest of Spirit Day activities today, I know we had some soccer action out here on Roosevelt Field. If you want to give us a recap of how the Eagles fared this afternoon.
Well, it was mixed success today for the Eagles. JV soccer team winning 1-0, and the varsity soccer team with a big win, winning 7-1. Of course, all these games were against the Plymouth Whitemarsh Colonials. Scoring for the varsity, those 7 goals, we had Rich Wolf with 2 and Mike Ford with 2. Matt Hine with 1, Norristown kicker Steve Davis, who's one of the leaders of the soccer team, having 1, and Kyle Merritt had 1.
Well, Walt, as a former Norristown soccer player yourself, I know you take great pride in those Eagle victories. Penalty on the play, Galliano goes up top, nobody there within 10 yards, I would say.
You'd have to think he was throwing that one away.
Eric Stead was the closest receiver, but that ball was well overthrown, even beyond the secondary. We do have a penalty on the play.
Jeff, while we wait for the penalty, I'll tell you that the JV field hockey team, which also played here today, lost 1-0, and the varsity lost 4-1, with the only goal coming from Dawn Mortimer.
Well, congratulations to all those athletes, Plymouth Whitemarsh and Norristown alike, who were out competing on this Saturday afternoon. It's nice to have the field hockey and soccer teams playing on a Saturday when family and friends can get a good look at them. Norristown penalty, of course, is holding here, so the Patriots will accept the penalty, and Norristown will be faced with 2nd and 18.
Jeff, we would have to say the field, while a little chewed up, looks relatively good. Give some credit to the people who are taking care of it down here. Everything fairly clear. And the field, we haven't actually seen anyone really slip or trip in a rut or anything like that.
No, I agree with you. Galliano this time fakes the handoff, rolls to the left. Oh, look at that little toss pass intended for Eric Stead. And I'll tell you, Galliano really seemed to have a little running room in front of him, but he saw Eric Stead try to drop it in between defenders and just not there.
Yeah, he did see Stead instead, a big target at 6'3", with great hands. That time Galliano did have a little room in front of him. I'm sure they wanted to chew up some bigger yardage, looking at a 2nd and 18. Got lucky there that he was able to overthrow into an area where there was no defender.
The Eagles with really no success through the air here tonight yet, and not much offensive success at all. It's been sort of a battle in futility here between these two squads, although we're just very early into the second quarter of play. But the Eagles once again 3rd and long from their own 35. Galliano, straight drop, looks deep, runs out of the pocket, tries to drop it to Damon Carroll, and oh, Damon Carroll, wow! Did he have a hit put on him by number 24, Jason Carabin. Wow. Give Damon Taylor some credit. How did he hold on to that ball?
Well, yeah, Carroll, a great job to hold on to it, and really had to know that there was a defender coming right at him, but had to catch that ball. I think the East defender, as we said, that was 24, Carabin, was looking for an interception. Galliano really led Carroll out there, and if Carroll hadn't sprinted to get it, Carabin would have had the interception and most likely gone all the way.
Yeah, you're right. From our vantage point, that looked like interception all the way. And the Eagles, for the 3rd time tonight, will punt the ball away. Braheen Mitchell, no rush, and an outstanding kick by Braheen Mitchell. Fair catch indicated at the 28-yard line, and good pursuit downfield that time by Jeff Butler and his teammates. But boy, I'll tell you, Braheen Mitchell really boomed that ball.
That's for sure. I think he certainly won the job. For the punt. We had a few people punting at the beginning of the year, but Mitchell has really nailed 2 punts today. And I think CB East head coach John Quinn is trying to avoid turnovers deep in his own end. Yeah, he saw the field position war going back and forth, and now he's evened it out a bit as they start at just inside their own 30. But these fair catches, he's really trying to avoid turnovers with the wet ball.
So Thackeray, once again, with his players in motion, the handoff goes off the right side, and that time the carry was off the right side, and an Eagle defender just grabbed the jersey that time and pulled the ball carrier. That was number 30, it was at 38, Bernhardt. Pardon me, 34, Brad Bernhardt. Right name, wrong number.
Norristown really getting used to that offensive motion of the Patriots. It seems to be wrapping up the running backs. We'll probably see East go to the air a little more.
3 yards on the carry. We'll call it 2nd and 7. Handoff again to Taylor. He breaks, slips 2-3 tackles, and he's finally brought down by number 84 for the Eagles. And Walt, let's get you a call on the Norristown ball tackler that time was Darrell Ray.
Well, Ray, a lineman, good thing he turned around and chased the back. Probably the best run we've seen all night with a couple of cuts and real slippery run to get some big yardage for the Patriots.
But I tell you, that was a heck of a run by Taylor. He slipped 2 tackles inside, and Ray did a good job wrapping him up downfield. Be 1st and 10 now from the 40-yard line of the Patriots, and we've got 10 minutes to play here in the first half. And if you joined us late, it is scoreless. Neither team really has been inside the red zone. Neither team has gotten it inside the opponent's 20.
No one's been close at all.
Actually, no one's been inside the opponent's 30. We've played this game within a span of about 60 yards in the middle of the field. 1st and 10 once again. Brian Thackeray takes a look at the Norristown defensive set, and this time the handoff comes off the inside. Brahim Mitchell just holds on for dear life, and he pulls down number 4, Sean Dunn.
That's a real good play. Dunn lined up as almost as the H-back over on the end. Not split wide, but just off the tight end. And Dunn went in motion and just cut up the hole very quickly with lead blockers. A big seam opened up for him.
Well, I'll tell you, a pickup of 11 yards on the play is another first down just inside midfield. 1st and 10 again. Dunn, the same play. He's got room again. He's into the secondary. One man to beat, and I'll tell you, that time it was Galliano and Mitchell. And when you've got Galliano and Mitchell making tackles on running plays, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's certainly not what you want. You want it stopped up on the line. But that CB East line is doing a great job. They're firing off the ball, opening the holes, and then just carrying their men 5 yards downfield. By that time, Dunn is exploiting the holes and into the defensive backfield.
Excellent run that time. It's going to be 1st and 10 again, this time from the 34 of Norristown.
And he's lined up in the same spot. We'll see what they run.
And Brahim Mitchell, after being involved in 2 consecutive tackles, comes off the field limping slowly, and that's not a good sign for Norristown. Replacing him on defense is number 1, Omar Jenkins. Brian Thackeray. They keep it on the ground. This time, oh my goodness, what a hit. Taylor somehow breaks that tackle. There's a loose ball, but it's not going to be a fumble, folks. The whistle blew in the backfield. That time, number 3, Brian Taylor, really took a hit. We couldn't see who laid it on him, but he moved back a yard after that thump.
The lick was delivered by Jeff Butler, the middle linebacker, who just fired up the middle. And give Taylor credit, bounced off. Well, obviously they said he dragged the knee, but really Butler fired through that hole, and then instead of wrapping him up, just tried to hang on to the foot as he bounced off.
Now it's going to be 2nd and 10 as the officials blew that play dead when Taylor was hanging up there in the backfield. Look at this offense. I think there's going to be a motion penalty on this play. The inside handoff goes to Taylor, but that's going to be called back. We had backs on opposite sides that time, both break into motion at the same time, and I believe that's illegal.
Well, that's what's going to happen, more than one man in motion, and they certainly do have a lot of motion on this offense. It must take some tremendous coaching and some tremendous coordination to get these players to learn these plays and not make the mistakes, and that's the first one we've seen.
So it'll be a 5-yard walk-off against the Patriots, and it'll be faced now with 2nd down and 15. I'll tell you, just to slip back to the previous play where Taylor really fought off the tackler after taking that punishing hit from Jeff Butler. Of course, the officials blew that play dead because Taylor really was hanging out to dry there, and he really could have been hurt if a Norristown player had come over the top to knock him down. This time we go up the middle again to Taylor, and he's stood up by number 55 for Norristown. My goodness. Dean Moore, what a tackle.
We talked about Dean Moore making some big plays. He's a special player on defense there at that linebacker position. They really found something, and if we see any turnovers forced, Moore may very well be the one to do it.
Well, I tell you, that was a heck of a tackle. This will be 3rd and 13 with 7:40 to play here in the first half. Line of scrimmage is the 38. Thackeray drops back. He's got plenty of time. He's going to follow his defenders, and I don't like that thought that time by Brian Thackeray. Following up the play was number 54, Ra Lusain.
Sure, Thackeray tried to dive into a hole that just wasn't there. Norristown had a couple people there who had stopped it up. And Thackeray's blockers hadn't opened the hole for him.
It looked like Thackeray thought he was on third and short instead of third and 13. But it'll be fourth down now from the 35-yard line. 4th and 10. You're really in too close to punt, Walt, and looks like Coach Quinn wants to think it over a little bit. I was kind of curious as to what they might want to do, so I guess they'll have a little powwow on the sidelines. Thackeray heads over to the far sideline to talk it over with head coach John Quinn. Walt, what would you do here? It's 4th and 10. You're at your opponent's 35-yard line. Your field goal kicker isn't going to kick a 52-yarder for you. What if you kick it into the end zone? You've only had a net gain of 15 yards.
Well, first, I don't think any punt's going to reach the end zone, but I certainly wouldn't punt in this situation. They haven't had much success throwing the ball. Thackeray's shown that he's not incredibly accurate, and when he does throw the ball, his receivers are having a tough time holding on. I think I'd run their little play with Dunn. Dunn coming off the end. Even if it doesn't get 10, and it has tonight, it'll pick up some significant yardage and at least keep Norristown back. I don't think you can think absolutely at all costs we must keep this drive going and get a touchdown here. That's very dangerous against Norristown. And the Norristown offense, as you mentioned, having starting slow a couple times this year, can come out and explode on you. So you don't want to give them back the ball in a real good spot and have them all pumped up. I would look for Dunn on this play. He seems to be their exciting playmaker.
We have two receivers wide to the right. This is 4th and 10 now with 7:09 to play in the half. They go to the air. Thackeray rolls right. The pass is downfield. Man's open, and it's going to be a first down. Boy, I'll tell you, Brian Taylor out of the backfield. Good job that time by Thackeray to find him on the sideline.
Well, that's confidence in the offense. They gave the ball to Thackeray and said deliver it, and he certainly did. Give Taylor credit, too. A real good catch. Had to go up and bring it down with Mitchell bearing down on his back there. And a good job to hang on to the ball as Mitchell tried to dislodge it.
So now we have 1st and 10 once again for the Bucks, this time from the 23-yard line of Norristown. Thackeray on the handoff to Dunn. Dunn bounces off one tackle. He's brought down on the outside that time by Eric Stead.
Norristown certainly not fooled by that play. Dunn there trying to go right to left and find some hole on the weak side of the field. But Stead really held his ground well, and he is a quick defensive lineman.
So the Eagles thwart that first attempt, and we'll have 2nd down and 10. Once again, the ball spotted at about the 23, call it maybe the 24-yard line of Norristown. Clock ticking away here with 6:15 to play in the first half. Thackeray goes to Dunn again. There's a flag on the play. Again, we have good Norristown defense there. Play only went for a yard, but I think we're going to call it back for an offensive penalty against the Patriots. And I think we're probably talking about illegal motion again, Walt.
It'll be a big stand for Norristown here to prevent any points. And that's what it is, illegal motion against the Patriots. Norristown would be a very crucial stand if they can prevent any points here after that, what could be a backbreaker of a play on the 4th and 10.
So it'll be 2nd and 15 now. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Patriots go back to the air. Norristown really seems to have solidified that interior line against the run.
In motion goes Taylor.
They go to Dunn up the middle again. Dunn has nothing at all. Boy, I'll tell you, Norristown seems to have read that play nicely.
Well, yeah, I think they've used it once too often in this first half here. And Butler, as he does so well, flowing to the ball, and that's what they try to do, get those linemen to hold their blockers and let Butler and Moore back there make the tackles.
Yeah, certainly was successful that time. Again, no gain on the play, perhaps a yard. We'll call it 3rd down and 14 from the 28 of Norristown. Thackeray sends Taylor in motion. He looks right at him. Thackeray looks up. He's going to be sacked. In on the play is Jeff Fiss. Eric Stead was the first guy to touch him, but let's give the sack to number 66, Jeff Fiss.
Well, Thackeray that time ran right into the Norristown defense. His linemen had gotten beat a bit, but were holding the Norristown defenders off. And that time, as Taylor streaked down the field, Thackeray, just looking to get that extra step to deliver the ball, ran right into the Norristown defense, and they had a gift.
Now this is interesting, Walt. On 4th and 17, now they show punt. It's a good snap. The kick is up. He's going for the corner on the far sideline, and it's an excellent punt. Boy, what a pooch kick, I'll tell you what. That ball is out of bounds at the 5-yard line of Norristown. So the Eagles have their defense stand up. They forced the change in possession, but my goodness, about as far back as they could be.
And tonight, John Quinn cannot seem to make a bad call. That's the CB East head coach, and everything he does is working out. I guess they have plays for 10 yards, but not crucial plays for 17 yards in that book. It actually is extremely tough to get 17 yards when you're down that tight, and Norristown knows that there's only one thing you can do, that's throw the ball. But Norristown really pushed back, and CB East has now swung the field position into their favor.
So the Eagles will take over 1st and 10 deep in their own territory with 4:25 to play in the half. Little motion in the interior line. Now, of course, the question is whether the defender was drawn off. We saw the motion in the interior of the defensive line.
I think that's going to be against the Patriots. That's encroachment. I mean, he went across the line and made contact. Of course, if no contact was made, he could have gotten back before the snap of the ball. But that's when the whistle is blown, when that defender makes contact. And good job of the Norristown defense, or Norristown offense, excuse me, of staying still and not making any mistakes tonight. No penalties against the Eagles.
And that's a big break for Norristown, because now they've got a little breathing room, Walt. If Galliano does have to drop back, he doesn't have to step into the end zone to pass. And it's going to be 1st and 5 now. We'll keep it on the ground. They give it up the middle that time. Nothing there. Good job that time. Damon Carroll was the ball carrier.
Yeah, Norristown has a little room to run their offense now. And their offense runs out of the eye a lot, and that's a deep formation, whereas the Patriots run everything close to the line of scrimmage. Norristown has Carroll coming from 5 yards back in the backfield. So there's a crucial play, and the Patriots getting a little over-aggressive, going for that stick and maybe the 2-point safety and getting the ball back, rather than just holding Norristown and turning it over to their offense.
And Walt Carroll actually picked up 4 yards on that play, 1 or 2 more than I thought he had. We'll call it 2nd and 1 for the Eagles. Again, the back's in the eye. They go to Carroll once again. He picks his way forward, and he's going to have the first down for Norristown.
And I think we saw Carroll's foot slip a little there as he tried to make the cut. But a good presence of mind to keep himself up, and only needing that 1 yard, find the little hole to get it.
So with 3:34 to play here in the first half, the Eagles doing a good job with the help of that 5-yard penalty from the Patriots of giving themselves a little bit of breathing room. They'll have the ball now from their own 15-yard line. Be interesting to see if Norristown can mount any kind of an offensive threat here as we wind down to the end of the first half. Galliano with the pitch this time to Butler. Butler hits the hole. Boy, I tell you, Jeff Butler does everything quickly. Oh, we've got a loose ball on the field. Let's wait for the call. Well, I haven't seen an official indicate it, but it looks like they've called a change in possession, a fumble by Butler. Now they're indicating, it looks to me, Walt, they're indicating Norristown ball. Boy, I tell you, nobody knows what's going on down there. We have a little timeout on the field. The officials are going to conference here. We have a timeout now called by the Patriots. Head coach John Quinn is 10 yards onto the field. He can't figure out what happened. Well, it was tough for us to see. I saw Butler go into the pile there, and I thought he might have been down. All of a sudden, we saw players scrambling for the ball, and there was no indication from the officials of a change in possession.
Well, no, it's better to not indicate than to make the wrong call, and no indication in that case would mean that the offensive team is keeping possession as they spotted the ball.
And John Quinn is using his timeout to really let the referee have it. He'd like to have an explanation of this call.
Well, John Quinn, and now talking to the referee, we used his timeout because he had about 5 players on the field as Norristown's offense was huddled up. They had switched teams, and as you said, Jeff, no indication was made really premature on the part of the Patriots, whether you think you have the ball or not. No call was ever made.
Well, it's interesting. The Patriots almost willed it to happen because the Norristown players then decided to change sets also, and the Norristown defense trotted onto the field.
Well, Butler just plunged into that hole, and we really couldn't see anything that happened after that.
Those East players must take some acting classes as part of their training regimen.
Persuasion, I believe. The art of persuasion.
So the Eagles will actually benefit on that call. The line markers we're now waiting for. They had moved the sticks already to indicate East possession. That's amazing. It was a pickup of 5 yards on the play. It was a run off the left side by Jeff Butler. We've had now a 5-minute debacle trying to figure out who has it and where we're going with it.
Turns out it's first down. I don't know. They still have second down on the board, but the sticks did move.
Well, now what had happened, Walt, was that the sticks had already moved to indicate first down. They had to move them back to where they should have been, which was to indicate second down and 5 for Norristown. Because that was a first down carry by Jeff Butler. He picked up 5 yards on the play, and that's where the ball should be spotted. Yeah, the folks on the far sideline handling the sticks really acted prematurely as well. They had already moved the ball the other way.
And now there's a bit of a problem as to where to place them and where to spot the ball, it looks like, as we still have an officials discussion, and Norristown's still in the huddle.
Okay, there's the whistle indicating we're ready to play again.
Give the officials credit, though. They never came out and made the wrong call, and they discussed it, and that's the important thing, is getting it right.
And so now Norristown 2nd and 5 from the 20-yard line. Butler, the only back, he takes the ball himself, looks around the right side. Wow, look at Butler accelerate into the secondary, and he's out close to the 40-yard line.
You saw him just pick his way around the line, just getting around the end, sweeping to the right. And when he saw that hole, boy, did he hit it. And like a flash, was just through the hole and into the backfield.
Usually it's Damon Carroll we associate with that blinding speed around the end on the long side of the field. But Jeff Butler, who was the only back deep for Norristown that time, really showed some great quickness.
Carroll's got the speed right off the line of scrimmage, whereas Butler just has such quick feet and can turn it on when he needs to.
1st and 10 Eagles from the 37. Damon Carroll on the reverse. Carroll looks up the middle, and there's nothing going there. Pickup of about a yard. Good pursuit that time. We'll give half the tackle to number 65, Larry Restivo.
Well, it was 86, Brett Shaw, who forced that play to the inside. Carroll, as he likes to take the ball around the outside, but that time, with Shaw being there to cut off his path, decided to take it up inside and then allowing Shaw allowed his teammates to make the tackle.
And we'll call this 2nd and a long 9 with 2:10 to play here in the half. Carroll goes in motion. They fake the handoff. There's the pitch. High pitch by Carroll, but he just brings it in. He's got to tuck that ball away, Walt. My goodness, that ball seemed to be blazing its presence to us.
and Carroll just showed his all-around athletic ability. That was not an easy pitch to handle. Very few pitches are, but that one, not in the breadbasket where you would like it. Galliano really tossed it high, and with the ball, I'm sure being wet, we could have seen disaster for the Eagles, but Carroll took it all in stride and just pulled it down easily.
Picked up 8 on the play. It's going to be 3rd and a yard from the 45-yard line. Galliano on the straight drop. That's an interesting call. He's got room. Oh, no. Jeff Butler wide open for a 4-yard completion, and he drops the ball.
The feet were moving. The feet were moving before he handled the ball, and you can bet Butler, as good as he is and as good as he expects himself to be, is not happy with that.
So it looks like the Eagles will be forced to punt here on 4th and short yardage from their own 45-yard line. Boy, I tell you, that's a tough break. The Eagles really certainly had a chance to put something into the end zone or on the scoreboard as we came down to the end of the half.
And Galliano, a real nice play, real presence of mind to handle that ball and hold it there in the pocket and then roll out towards Butler.
So Brahim Mitchell will be back deep again to do the punting chores for Norristown. Good snap that time. Good go. Boy, that's a low punt right out of bounds. That ball must have either been deflected or Mitchell must have been bothered by the penetration on the part of the Patriots.
Well, the whole thing was a bit slow in developing. It was a good snap, but really came back there a bit slowly. Of course, you'd rather have it at the punter than just fast and over his head. But Mitchell, and taking a couple of slow steps, really had to be careful that he didn't get that blocked. And Norristown will have 1:14 to hold the Patriots here.
Well, that's a tough break for the Eagles. Mitchell, having done such a stellar job on several of his previous punts, only advanced the ball 15 yards on that last play, and Thackeray will have a chance to go upstairs, although they hand off again to Carabin, and he picks up about 2 yards on the play.
How you doing?
They are in the hurry up. Coming up on a minute. 2nd and 7.
Thank you.
It's time. Carabin ball is loose. Thackeray picks it up. Though.
Wow, that's dangerous right there.
Back to the 40.
Just a mishandled snap, and Norristown defenders really angry at themselves for not picking that ball up, as the snap was just mishandled.
We have a timeout.
And now they have to take the timeout to regroup and settle down. Boy, that could have been disastrous for the Patriots.
And that'll be the Patriots' last time out of this first half. With 42 seconds to play, they're faced with 3rd and 11 from their own 42-yard line. And while it's been an interesting first half, certainly nothing spectacular has happened yet. Very steady game. Give some credit to both defensive squads.
Well, the Norristown defense has been tremendous in their last 2 games. Against Ben Salem, only allowing 79 total yards and 4 first downs. Just an incredible game. In that game, they also scored a touchdown and set up another for their offense. So you would expect the Patriots to have some real trouble against that Norristown defense. And Norristown offense has been a little bit slow at times this year. Had a great game against the Bucks of Central Bucks West. But despite all the points, have not been piling up big yardage from either their backs or through the air.
So now it'll be 3rd and 11. Again, 42 seconds to play here in the first half. Taylor in motion. They hand off up the middle. Looks like number 41, Olson, on the carry, and he picks up about 4 or 5, but it's going to be 4th down again, and now Norristown will call the timeout.
Well, Norristown may very well have a chance to set up a return and get a couple plays off. And with Norristown's game breakers, you certainly want that opportunity. I'm sure you'll see them set up here for the big return.
Well, we'll see who's right, because I was just thinking they might set up for the block with only 33 seconds to play in the half. I thought maybe they'd come after it a little bit.
They have the people do that as well. I'm sure you'll see Stead off the end, number 40, if they do decide to go that way. He's tall, he's got very long arms, and he's very good at shedding his block on the line. We may also see Lofton Thompson come in from the end. We saw him in the first game of the Eagles season come off and deflect the punt.
And Walt, not a lot to talk about here in this first half of play. We've seen no scoring. The game is tied at 0. We've got 33 seconds to play in the half. And really the only serious threat that we saw was the last possession by the Patriots, when they were deep in Norristown territory but hurt themselves on a penalty, and good defensive pursuit finished it off. Well, you're right. They've got 3 guys back setting up for the return.
That's for sure. It's 81 Rich Hicks back there. The up back is Butler.
And then Brahim Mitchell, number 11, is the other man back. And we've got penalties everywhere on 4th down.
The leading rushers in the Delaware Valley.
We'll see what the call is here. Looks like we're going to back up the Patriots 5 more yards.
There's one of these linemen looks like flinched there.
There could have been some motion on the line. No, offsides Norristown. Those officials are deceiving us down there. And that's almost a big mistake by the Eagles. Could have given the Patriots a first down. But on 4th and a yard, John Quinn still elects to punt the ball. I don't like that call. I think I'd go for the first down.
Yeah, at this point, you want to just pound out a yard.
Great kick by Thackeray, taken by Hicks at about the 15-yard line. He looks to elude some tacklers, breaks one tackle, looks for the sideline, and he brings it all the way back to the 33-yard line. And I tell you, Rich Hicks, exciting little run there.
Well, Rich Hicks is a powerful runner. When he gets his hand on the ball, he plays tight end, so you know he's strong and powerful and fairly quick, so you're not going to arm tackle him. And that time it was number 41 for the Patriots who tried to arm tackle him, and Hicks just blew right through it. And give credit to Braheen Mitchell for coming over and throwing the block to allow Hicks to get some running room to the outside.
With only 16 seconds left here, Walt, do you think that we'll see Norristown go up top, or will the Eagles just sit on it for one play and go into the locker room?
I don't think they'll go to the
0?
air. I don't think they'll sit on it. I think they'll let one of their backs have a shot to break it.
And there's the handoff to Carroll. He's got room off the right side, and looked like he almost slipped down that time, Walt.
Yeah, Damon Carroll's not going to be brought down that easily. He certainly did look like he slipped a bit.
And the Eagles quickly try to grab the ball for another play, but time has expired, and we are scoreless after 2 quarters of play here at a muddy, rain-soaked Roosevelt Field. And Walt and I will be back in just a moment to recap the first half of play.
Put a lot of points last week, game breaking.